Live. Welcome back. This is CFRA Live. I'm Andrew Pinsent with you until 11 o'clock this morning. Your texts always welcome at 580-580. Tweet us at CFRA Ottawa with whatever's on your mind. But also, one of the topics during our weekly Rundown News panel, Keenan Wellar is on the phone. He's co-leader and director of communications with Live, Work, Play. Keenan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks. Good morning.
And Mitch Kedrosky, our producer here at CFRA Live, also joining us this morning. Mitch, good morning.
Good morning.
I know you've put Eric out to work out there. So
yes.
I've allowed you to come in here and share your thoughts here. No, I joke. But we've been talking a little bit this morning as well about just the unofficial start of summer. I got a couple of texts here. Mosquitoes marked the beginning of summer, was eaten alive yesterday. It was the same for me with black flies last weekend, kind of making a visit to some family. But Keenan, just starting with you, what's your kind of sure sign that summer's here?
Yeah, as a Lansdowne resident, there's this sequence. They fill the canal, and then the common carp have the Love Fest in the pond at Flora Footbridge, and then we have Tulip Fest, then we have the long weekend, and then the CFL season starts, and that's the official launch of summer.
I didn't realize there was a whole process, but the CFL season, that's a good one. And Mitch, what's for you? What's the sign?
I kind of already gave my answer, but it's when I'm no longer miserable and the seasons have changed, right, and my outlook on everything has changed with the season.
And very quickly as
Hard
well.
to define when, but
Very quickly as well that happens. Another one saying ballparks when they open too. So let us know what you think. Your unofficial sign that summer is here. At 580-580, tweet us at CFRA Ottawa. A little bit of a rainy one here, so I don't know. Summer's still waiting here. But a couple of topics in the news this week. This one a little bit more somber, obviously, when it comes to our justice system. Sergeant Eric Mueller laid to rest at a ceremony here in Ottawa. He was shot and killed in the line of duty last week. There's still a lot we don't know in this case, but the issue of bail reform, once again, kind of coming to the forefront this week, is the Liberals are proposing changes. Now, the Conservatives have been leading with the bail not jail political argument. But Mitch, maybe I'll start with you. Do you expect the topic of crime and justice to kind of get more heated as we get into the next election? It seems to be kind of an election point, at least for some.
Oh, definitely. And it's always been that way. This whole subject of bail not jail makes me uneasy, I think, because it never mind like the constitutional underpinnings of what it means and a presumption of innocence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of seems
that's what experts are saying,
to sweep all those things under the rug. I'm no expert on this matter, but I think firmly opposed to using Occam's razor to kind of solve your legal issues. And there's so many people in jail right now already serving on remand that to me it makes me uncomfortable. And, a bloated carceral system isn't very good. I think it's better if you have people who, obviously, if you're a repeat offender, you've been in jail before, right? Something's not working. I think you need to look at other solutions.
Yeah, and maybe it is just, on an individual basis, but being more, I guess, harsh about it when it comes to sentencing. Keenan, do you think this issue is going to get heated? We saw passports, for example, get heated this week. Or last week, as we move forward in any kind of federal election campaign, do you think this topic is going to get more heated here?
Yeah, condolences to Sergeant Mueller's family and colleagues. And yes, I think the crime topic is definitely going to outlast the passport, which is not a history book. But yeah, I think I mostly agree with Mitch. It's not good politics, but it's a really complicated issue. We already have people who are only in jail because they don't have a few bucks for bail for being accused of a very minor crime. And there are limits on what can be done constitutionally, even with violent crime. But I don't think, the public has a limited patience for long stories. They react to things. So there's political gains possible by focusing on crime. We see it in the U.S., and we're not immune to that. But I hope people will dig in a bit and try to understand the complexity. If filling jails worked, then a lot of U.S. states wouldn't have tons of crime, wouldn't have any crime. So I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, and I guess we would have figured out crime and issues like that a long time ago if that were the case. And just, Mitch, I guess just in the sense of we've I guess kind of putting this to both of you because it is kind of a follow-up question, but we have seen cases where perhaps something should be reviewed, a person kind of released, and then we see them commit some kind of violent crime. We saw this back with involving a police officer back in September as well. Is there something to be said perhaps about even individual cases? I guess you were kind of mentioning that, Mitch, about judges being able to kind of review and impose more restrictions on people who do have a violent kind of past.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why repeat offenses often happen, and there's lots of evidence to suggest this, is that repeatedly locking somebody up and then doing that doesn't really do a whole lot for their opportunities, right? I mean, if you go to jail, it starts a cyclical thing of crime, right? So, and it becomes increasingly harder to find opportunities and get on the straight and narrow after you've gone to jail. So, it makes me uncomfortable to the answer of just locking people up. There needs to be more. Something's clearly not working. So, yeah.
Well, just even in generalities, right? I think everybody can kind of understand that. And Keenan kind of mentioning that too, that, you get locked up. If you don't even have enough money for bail, how are you going to move forward? But a few other topics I wanted to get to on the docket this week, particularly when it comes to local politics. So this one kind of interesting to me because I saw a few different stories here kind of telling us different things. So, there was an investment story this week about a $9 million investment in a downtown office building. There was an event saying, Ottawa's downtown is open for business, but also saw a couple of other stories this week. So the Fed's putting up surplus buildings for sale downtown in Ottawa and Gatineau. Vacancy rate is going up. Building permits are going down. Keenan, maybe I'll start with you. Do you think Ottawa's downtown is headed for a crisis, or do you think it's open for business? It feels like we're getting some mixed messaging here.
I hope it's open for housing of all kinds, including affordable housing. I just don't think we're going to see, no matter what happens as we move forward and sort of work from home and all those conversations, I just don't see a resurgence of the downtown office building. But I see a huge opportunity. We desperately need housing at all income levels, and so it's an incredible opportunity. I see there's lots of discussion about that happening already. So I hope reasonable people can start working on that topic, because that's, to me, the answer of a revitalized downtown if people living there.
Well, and I remember the Conservatives bringing this up during the past election campaign. Aaron O'Toole saying, maybe some of these surplus buildings could be turned into affordable housing. I guess would it help to kind of look at this a little bit differently in a sense of how we can utilize some of these buildings downtown that aren't being used? I guess whoever wants to take that, Mitch.
Well, I think I'm no expert in the inner workings of a building and how you get the plumbing to work and everything else. But a building that's designed for an office work, I'm skeptical about how easily it could be converted. But it doesn't really matter how you cut it or how you look at these things. Having these spaces free up and the opportunity to do something else with it is a tremendous opportunity, however you want to go.
Yeah, I would just say lots of cities have done this. I mean, to check out New York City. So, most of the people in Manhattan are living in something that was an office at one point, or even a warehouse or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've gotten rid of, in Toronto, I noticed they get rid of single family zoning as well to try to allow for some of those more developments as well. So maybe that is a solution here moving forward too. I know they're trying. The other question I wanted to ask you guys, just in terms of downtown, for you guys, are you visiting downtown? Keenan, do you visit downtown often? Do you find yourself coming downtown less? Because I've just found, outside of when some major events are happening, we're not getting the draws that we normally do.
I mean, I do, but I live at Lansdowne, so kind of between here and Parliament,
you are downtown, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also, there's still really excellent, interesting dining downtown, and it's great. I think we still have a great walkable city in downtown, so just going down the canal and up to Parliament and all around those areas, to me, is still a great thing to do.
Oh yeah, that Lansdowne spot is a fantastic area too. Mitch, is that what do you kind of spend a lot of time downtown outside of work?
Well, I live and I work downtown. I try and typically get away from downtown whenever I can, and that's a great opportunity. But I agree. I really like the downtown core of Ottawa. It's a wonderful, walkable city, and it's great when the transit works. So yeah, I mean, I already spend most of my time down here.
So what's a little bit more? And I guess lastly this week, not a lot of Ottawa Senators movement on the kind of ownership front to talk about this week, but we did get a lineup for CityFolk, so that's some big ones kind of happening this week. We got the Orkells, Iggy Pop as headliners. Mitch, are you going to see anybody? Anyone stick out to you?
I'm not super interested in the CityFolk lineup, to be honest. I'm more interested in Blues Fest and Jazz Festival, I think.
Yeah.
I
always like the kind of mix with CityFolk as well. It just seems to draw a lot. Keenan, anybody kind of stick out for you to go see this year?
Yeah, it's becoming maybe like Blues Fest, a bit less and less folky, but I'm a huge Headstones fan, and a chance for this many fans to come and see the Headstones, I think that is going to be, if you've never seen them or are not aware of this, that is going to be quite a show there, much loved in Ottawa, but usually jammed into very small spaces like the Bronson Center or something. It doesn't feel very free.
Yeah.
So I would expect a great time on that night.
Yeah, definitely. One of Kingston's finest, we can say, for that. But let us know what you think as well. 580-580, tweet us at CFRA Ottawa. What did you think of the CityFolk lineup this week? And what's your sure sign that summer is here as well? Let us know. But that's going to do it for us this morning, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Mitch and Keenan, thanks so much for your time as well. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks. Great weekend, everybody.
Keenan Wellar, co-leader and director of communications with Live, Work, and Play. Also joined by Mitch Kedrosky, our CFRA Live show producer here.